I found our preseason predictions like 30 pages before it, and I didn't even have the Knicks in the playoff playing game this year. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, I'm not going to be a homer. I mean, I love them. I'd like to see them do well, but the Knicks have been hot garbage for 20 years. I'm not going to get on the air and say they're ready to roll. I mean, this season, listen, to me, this season has been beyond awesome, right? It's been so galvanizing. It's been so unexpected, right? Which leads to the galvanization. You know, I've always said, now not everybody agrees with me, and I want to actually ask D-Cell Santa, you can slack us your answer, and then obviously Tiki, you ain't as well. I've always thought that the most rewarding aspect of being a fan, and you know your partner at his core, certainly was a maniacal fan, and still to this day, man, I've maintained my fandom. Like maybe not like I did when I was 17 and 20, but so a large part of it. You know, I think the best part of being a fan is when you make that transition from non-competitive to relevant, especially if it's been a long time. And what I'm saying is, to me, that even is more enjoyable than the leap from being relevant to actually winning the championship. That most people will disagree. I get that. I'm not even here to debate that. I'm saying for me, when you have such an unexpected set of circumstances that, at least in the case of the Knicks, finally seems sustainable because you have a really great head coach. Thibs better win coach of the year. He's getting it.
Yeah, I think he probably will. But I'm trying to think of the last time the Knicks were relevant. That's 12-13, right?
When they won 54 games with Carmelo. But you knew, look at the roster. Jason Kidd was on the roster. Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
you knew, that's why I used the word sustainable, right?
Yep.
So the Knicks have all their first round equity, you know, including what they got back in the Porzingis. Like the Knicks can do so many things with the draft. They've got a boatload of money. They are they're 31st or 32nd in salary cap money this year. Same thing next year. They got money. They got picks. They got a guy who's finally, listen, I'm going to say it to me. I think Julius Randle's been a better Knick than Carmelo Anthony because he's affected winning more and he's more of a team guy. That's just my opinion. I look at this, Teak. I am so excited. I have no grand illusions. Win the championship this year, win multiple rounds. Let's see what happens. Let's worry about the Hawks first. But the younger fans are about to see what the NBA is all about when the Knicks matter.
The only thing that I think makes this less compelling, because it is a compelling story, is that they're not going to be a full house at MSG. I'm serious.
Hey, don't take away my joy, all right,
I know,
buddy?
I'm just saying. But to your point, I'm just talking specifically about what you just said, that the NBA will be heightened and people will see the relevancy of the importance of the Knicks being good. But the problem is we actually won't, because there's not this raucous crowd base.
But you'll feel it on social media, Teak. The Knicks are, you cannot ignore the New York Knicks.
Yeah, true. I don't think that's I can't dispute that. I'm just saying, like, what it feels like in a basketball arena, the Knicks arena, MSG specifically, when they're good, that's a different level. I mean, because I went to a couple of those games. I wasn't a fan per se, but I went to some of those games when they were relevant. Insanity, remember the Linsanity thing? I mean, you couldn't get a ticket to that place.
Yep. Until Carmelo ruined Linsanity's vibe.
Of course he did,
because he was selfish.
Basically, I don't know.
He ended it, basically.
Like, he kneecapped Linsanity's career.
Yes, he
Jeremy
did.
Lin's career.
What
basically.
a team guy.
Yep.
Which is why what I said about Randle, I mean. I believe Randle's a better Knick than Carmelo.
Because I don't even remember where Jeremy Lin went after that.
Well, remember, he was first out of Stanford. The Warriors kicked the tires before he became a Knick.
after the Linsanity moment.
He went to Charlotte. Didn't he sign a deal with Charlotte? Gave him a few bucks. Somebody gave him a decent free agent deal.
But it wasn't anywhere where he could replicate what he had when he was in New York.
No. Then he bounced around and all over the map. You know, you're right. You will not. You know, we've all seen the shot when Larry Johnson got fouled against the Pacers, the 4-point play, the 3-pointer, and the N1 when one of the Davis brothers fouled him, and the roof went off. Like okay. No, it's not going to be like that beginning in round one against the Hawks, because although they're going to increase it to whatever, it's going to be maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people in there. But what's going to happen? That transfer of energy and that focus and shift of attention. This now changes everything, because now, and I've said this before, but now that it's here, it's even more relevant. And we've heard other players speak about this now. LeBron, the NBA is better when the Knicks are relevant. No kidding. Everybody's weighing in now, which means eventually one of these young bucks that's not happy, that is not enthralled with their situation, like Anthony Davis a couple of years ago, and like a long list of stars that wedged their way out, like James Harden more recently, somebody is going to say, get me to the Garden.
Yeah.
And then it's fully on, because by then there will be 19,763 people there, and they'll be on TNT and ESPN all the time, and the Knicks will be rocking. And by then, some of the stars, the legitimate stars, like Durant and like Harden and like LeBron, they will be phased out. They will be a little bit too old to really probably win a championship.
Yeah, but do you think that what happens in Brooklyn will impact this at all? Let's say Brooklyn wins a championship this year.
Okay.
Because there's a chance that happens.
Very good chance.
I mean, who knows if they're going to be healthy for the entirety of the postseason? But and yeah, they got defensive issues, like severe defensive issues in Brooklyn. But let's say they win a championship. What does that do to the Knicks?
Okay. First of all, what does it do to the Knicks? I think it just intensifies their desire to eventually catch the Nets. Although even if the Nets lose, that desire's there, so that was done.
Yeah.
What does it directly do to the Knicks? Nothing, because the Nets are supposed to be good. The Nets are supposed to win. Now, if the Nets do win, yeah, you'll get a few fringe converts. Oh, I'm now a Nets fan. All right, great. that will impact nothing. And then you're going to have to get to this point, all right? And when those 4-year contracts, with the last one being an opt-out, when they expire, which will be after next season, then they can opt out. Now, all of a sudden, Kevin Durant's 33-ish, 33-ish with, Kyrie Irving. Does Kyrie still want to play ball? James Harden, he's in his 30s. What's he? I mean, so I don't look at the Nets, and the Nets very well might win the championship. I picked them to win the championship at the start of the season, having played the Lakers, and I'm not going to back off that now because the Lakers are healthy, and I think the Nets will beat the Sixers. So I'm thinking Nets-Lakers championship. If the Nets win, though, it's not going to be a situation where their presence will be so long-lasting that it will stifle whatever the Knicks do. I think it ends maybe I'm not saying they can't go back-to-back, but it's not like this is a 3-4 year run it back kind of a dominance deal. Yeah. That's not happening in Brooklyn.
No, it's not a dynasty.
No way.
I mean, because
they're too old, those guys.
Yeah, they're too old. And honestly, Kyrie might legitimately say, I don't want to play basketball anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
I agree.
I'm not going to be surprised if that happens. And this is the first time we hit this earlier in the show. It's the first time I've heard him talk about what's been bothering him. And basically, basketball doesn't matter, or is his exact quote, relative to what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Means he's not going to play basketball for much longer. It is what it is. He's not going to all of a sudden refine his passion for basketball because the world's not going to fix itself overnight.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
No, it's very, very, very well said, and a very important aspect of it. And if that's the case, would that possibly be fuel for, let's say the Nets win the championship and Kyrie retires, which I don't think is that implausible.
No.
Either one.
And goes and does something like profound.
Try to change the world.
Try to change the world, right?
Be rooting for him, no doubt. But
what happens to the Nets then?
Well, directly, what happens to Durant? You think Durant is going to extend when he didn't even like that? That's what I'm like. Why wouldn't he opt out and go somewhere else?
Maybe because James Harden is still there.
No, I know.
I don't know the details. Like I know Kyrie's contract. I know KD's contract. I don't know the details of James Harden's.
Well, he didn't sign the extension.
Well, he didn't. So he's probably.
I think he's up after next year. I'll check it for you. I think he's got this year, next year.
But I would think that as long as James Harden is still there, because Kevin Durant and James Harden is a potent duo, and then you throw in some of those ancillary pieces in Brooklyn, like Joe Harris, who we always talk about and we kind of forget sometimes, but he's been fantastic this year, especially with all the injury time that these guys have missed. So if I would think as long as James Harden is still there. Say Kyrie bounces out, I think James Harden and KD is still a potent 1-2.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, even without Kyrie, the Harden-Durant connection, if they're both healthy and both motivated, and they're both absolute ballers, both of those guys, you get the sense would just go to the park and play for free. I don't know if Kyrie would play for free.
No, that's right.
I know James Harden and Kevin Durant would.
Yeah.
Definitely Durant, and probably Harden. But, yeah, their contract is on the same timeline as the other guys. James Harden, he's got a player option for 2022, 2023 for $47 million. Durant's got it for $42.7, and Kyrie's got it for $36.6. I mean, the one thing with those three guys now. There hasn't been a ton of volatility to James Harden's career. Like, you can't call him a transient player.
No.
You can begin to call Kyrie Kyrie Irving, a bit of a transient, and Kevin Durant as well.
He's been on 4 teams.
And same with Durant. Durant's bounced around by his own doing, for sure.
Yep.
I would not, what I'm saying is, I would not look at that trio or 2/3 of that trio and try to assign any definitive plan as to what they're thinking or where they might play.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
So to answer your question directly about what would the Nets, a possible championship, do to obscure what the Knicks are building, my answer is nothing. I mean, would it complicate it to an extent? Sure. Would it piss us Knicks fans off? Sure. I'm not rooting for the Nets to win. I don't want to see the Nets win. And every Knicks fan is with me on that. But that does not alter the fact that for the first time in a long time, like the Knicks are systematically checking the imperative boxes. They are walking before they are trying to run. They tried to get the big fish free agents before they wanted to play a lick of defense or wanted to be coached up hard or wanted to have professionalism. This has been one of my favorite seasons of all time. I mean, from a kid who used to stay up late and watch Bernard King on the road, because we didn't have MSG in my house until later, and Channel 9, WOR, had the Knicks and the Ranger road games on. Some of you old-timers remember that. I'd watch Bernard. That's how I got into the Knicks. And then he got hurt. And then, and then we got Ewing, but we never won. And then we had 20 years of hell, basically. It has been such a fun ride this year that, and I'm not even afraid. Well, what if they lose to the Hawks? I'm not worried. I'd love to win, even if they lose to the Hawks. The future is bright, and the point of this segment, really, for the first time in 20 years, the younger NBA fans are starting to feel it, and I think that they know that it's come to fruition, and that's good for the league. That's all. I'm not saying they're going to win a champion, nowhere near it, but moving in the right direction for sure. It's been fun. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.